up, guys? Mike here, Head Trader, True Trading Group. January 31st, we finished the week and the month with a big day. 3 for 3 today, guys. Made 3 trades, 2 SPY put option trades, 1 short in Roku, and we cleaned house on all 3 trades. The SPY put option trades, 121% gain on our final take profit and an 83% gain on our final take profit on 2 separate trades, and then we added some gains on the Roku short. I'm going to walk you guys through all 3 of these trades today, show you guys how we profited from this big sell-off in the overall markets. Dow was down like 650, had a little bit of a bounce back into the close. Some comments coming out of the White House regarding the coronavirus, but today's selling was really exacerbated by we had some poor economic data that came out, but really, guys, fears continuing to grow with the coronavirus as the virus is actually starting to double every 3 days. Cases now, confirmed cases are now almost at 10,000. Only 6 cases in the U.S., like over 9,000 are in China. You have your first reported case in Russia. So those fears are starting to strengthen with, how much of the economy, how much GDP growth is going to be hurt, and what's going to be the effect on GDP, because China businesses are closed. You have people that are not going to work, people that are not going to restaurants and retail stores, are not going shopping, not going to the movies, not using transportation. United, American, Delta, all canceling flights to mainland China. So, you're talking about a pretty big effect now to GDP growth. And if this does not get under control soon, the effects on GDP growth, not just in China, but worldwide, including eventually in the United States, will be impacted, could be possibly significantly. So far, the damage on GDP growth will be small, but it still will have an effect, but it could be much more severe if things don't get under control here pretty soon. So I'm going to go into these 3 trades with you guys. I'm going to go over those 2 big wins on the SPY put option trade, show you how you guys can profit from downward action in the overall markets, even without shorting. If you can't short, you can take advantage of trading options, and we're going to go over that. And I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about stock selection. Before I get into the SPY put option trades, let's first talk about the Roku short. Okay, and this is where we're going to talk about stock selection, and we're going to talk about selecting your entry on a short opportunity and how to short bounces in weak stocks. So let's go to, here's Roku. Roku was very, very weak today. There is a dispute between them and Fox for content distribution. Their agreement is up for renewal, and there's a discrepancy, and there's an argument there with some of the sporting events. There's something they were talking about. Roku users are not going to be able to view the Super Bowl as well as other Fox events, and that caused a lot of selling pressure and a lot of weakness in Roku today. So coming into the day here, my actual first order on the day was actually in SPY put options, but I didn't get a fill. Coming into the day, I'm thinking that the market's weak. I'm thinking that we're going to get some downside. It was one of the game plans pre-market today, and I'm looking for short opportunities to buy some put options. And let me actually go back to the SPY and show you my very first entry opportunity where I tried to get into SPY options. Okay, and I'll draw my Fibonacci retracement levels out. You guys can see here. Let me thicken this a little bit so it's easier for you to see. I don't know why it's always so thin. So here you guys can see, okay, on this first bounce back attempt, see the market, we had this little drop. We bounced back right into the 38.2 Fibonacci level, VWAP in the trade line, and we got rejected heavily. Okay, this candle is a heavy rejection. We just got stuffed, like got punched right in the face. And as soon as I saw that resistance at the 38.2 Fib, trade line, and VWAP, I went ahead and I started to try to get put options in here, and I just was not getting a fill. And then bang, we broke the low of the day, and I was like, damn, I missed a really good opportunity to get some put options right there. But at that moment, I'm saying, okay, the SPY's weak. There's our new low. I'm not going to chase this down here. I'll wait for another bounce. But now let me look to see, are there other stocks that are weak that I can go ahead and I can get short these opportunities now while I wait for the SPY to kind of give me another entry opportunity. And that's when I started looking at Roku, because Roku was very weak off the open. This action you're seeing in Roku, tremendous downward momentum, heavy selling pressure right off the bell with consistently increasing volume. This action in Roku is the stock telling you that it is weak. This is the stock confirming to you that there is momentum to the downside. That increasing volume like that, when you see that heavy, steady, aggressive selling pressure with increasing volume, is telling you that it's aggressive selling pressure. Okay, that increasing volume is showing you that there's a real rush for people to get out of this stock, and that's this big strong move to the downside. I'm saying as soon as I get a bounce, I'm looking to short this thing. How beautiful of an entry opportunity did we get in this Roku, guys? Let me go back. Here we are on Roku. Okay, so here we are, our first bounce attempt on Roku. I drew out my fib levels. Wasn't too much of, we were kind of right in the middle of the fib levels, so they really didn't come into play. But what I loved here was look at that trade line view up cross act as resistance. Now I'm saying to myself, I think the SPY is going to be weak today. I already have a bearish sentiment in the SPY. Okay, so now I'm looking at Roku. Roku's already showed me weakness. It showed me momentum to the downside. So when you talk about stock selection, it's going to be our first lesson of this video is stock selection. If I think the market's going to be weak today, when you go about looking for individual stocks to short, go after the weak ones. Don't go after the strong ones. There was a lot of people that were saying they were trying to short Tesla today. Why? Tesla's the strongest stock in the entire market outside of Amazon today because of their gap up with earnings. Tesla yesterday, I tried shorting Tesla yesterday because I thought we were going to get an exhaustion gap up. We didn't get it. The stock gapped up huge and consolidated the entire day. The market held the gap. We didn't pull the gap in. We didn't sell the gap off. There wasn't aggressive selling pressure that stepped in. The stock didn't reverse at any point during the day. There was no signs of selling pressure or weakness in Tesla yesterday. So why go after one of the strongest stocks on a day when you think the market is weak? Why would you do that? We're actually trading new all-time highs in Tesla. Tesla made a new all-time high today right before the closing bell. So you're not going to want to go and try to short Tesla in the morning if you think the market's weak. Why short a strong stock? Go short a weak stock. And that's what I did in Roku. Okay. This will help you multiple ways. You have to think of it this way. Let's say you're wrong on thinking that the market's going to go down. If you're wrong on your market directional call and you think the market's going to go down and you're looking at short stocks because you think, looking at the short stocks that might get pulled down with overall market weakness. If you're wrong and the market actually bounces back, it's going to be the strong stocks that are going to move higher first and with the most power. So if you go after a weak stock, even if you're wrong and the market bounces back, that weak stock like Roku will be less likely to really rip right back into your face because the stock is already weak on the day. Maybe it just doesn't continue lower. Maybe it bounces back a little bit. Maybe it trades sideways. But the strong stocks like Tesla are going to be the ones that are going to rip back in your face. So when it comes to stock selection, if you think the market's going to be weak, go short weak stocks. Don't go and try to short strong stocks. Okay. Same thing applies to when the market's in a rip your face off rally. Go buy and focus on the strong stocks. Don't focus on the laggards and the stocks that aren't moving higher because you're like, oh, well, this stock is cheap compared to some of the other ones. If the stock is cheap, there's probably a reason why it's cheap. If you think the market's going to be strong, look at strong stocks. If you think the market's going to be weak, look at weak stocks. The trend is your friend. Stick with it. Okay. So that's our lesson on stock selection. Then you have the beautiful entry opportunity here. I got short Roku right there on that bounce back up at the trade line and view up. I'll take you guys to my trade announcements on the day. Here you can see short Roku at 124.90. Okay, there's the entry at 124.90, and then we just rolled it over. Okay, we rolled it over. We got down to the low of the day. I took some profit off the table. I'll take you guys to my alerts. I covered some at 123.40 just after 10 o'clock. Right in here. Right, was the first take profit. Back to the announcements. Took more profit, covered Roku at 122.41. That is right here. And then my final take profit right here. Back to my announcements. Final take profit, covered Roku 122.40. So I'm taking you guys through this trade quickly because I want to get to the SPY put options because those are the big winners of the day. This Roku short was nice. It just added to the day. There's the entry, take one, take two, take three, and we ended up going lower later in the day, but just kind of traded sideways here. I think Roku does have more room to the downside over the next couple of days. You got to look to see this 120 area might be a nice area of support. That's the 50-day moving average, and there's some support there on the daily chart as well. But this was a nice addition to a big day with SPY put options. So now let's go back to the SPY. I want to show you guys those trades. All right, here we go. And pan this in. So I already showed you guys that first entry opportunity where I tried to get in on that bounce back into that 38.2 fib and cross area, and I didn't get the fill, and we rolled over and made new lows. So now I'm saying, okay, the market's weak. I want to get short. I got to look for another entry opportunity. Not chasing it down. I'm waiting for a bounce back. So then here's our first bounce back. I redrew my fib levels, and we bounced right back up into where? The 38.2 fib line again, and VWAP. And then we got rejected aggressively right on this. Look at that big rejection back at the trade line. At VWAP and the 38.2 fib level. Strong rejection, and right inside of that candle is where I went ahead and I bought put options on the SPY. You guys can see I bought the 325 strike today, same day expiration at 66 cents. Okay, that's 66 cents. Now, trading same day expiration put options on the SPY on a day when I think the SPY is going to be very volatile, those option contracts are going to be extremely volatile. You can go from up 60% to down 60% in minutes. Okay, they are very, very volatile. So as soon as I got that print to a new low of the day, that new low of the day print, I'm like, you know what? Let me just lighten my position a little bit just in case we do rally all the way back. Because I knew if I was wrong on this trade, I knew I'm risking probably 50, 60%. But if I'm right, I thought that I can possibly make a lot more, like 150 to 200%. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just reduce that risk a little bit on that first move because I knew that I was going to be in a very volatile option contract. So I took a piece of my position off the table at 75 cents, as you can see right here. All right, then we extended lower. Okay, we continued lower to new lows. And then I took another piece of my position off the table here at 92 cents. There's a 92 cents. And then as I pan this over, you guys can see we really continued to fall apart. We continued lower. And right there was my final take profit at $1.46 a contract. Here it is, just before 11 a.m., $1.46 a contract. That is a 121% gain from the initial entry. So there's the entry, take one, take two, final take. Finally, guys, I'm getting follow through. The last 3 days have been choppy for me. My P&L, I've been up, I've been down, I've been up, I've been down. I haven't gotten follow through on the stocks that I was trading the last couple of days. And that's why, the lessons in a lot of my previous videos are all focused on tier trading, risk management, taking some profits off the table when you can to reduce your risk in case the trade ends up failing later on and you don't get the follow through. And that's really what I had been doing the last couple of days is like, I would get the stocks and the trades that I was in, they would give me that first move. I would take 25% of my position off the table, but I wouldn't get any follow through. The trades would reverse. Okay, so I would end up like taking a loss on the trade net. Okay, but because I'm locking in profit on 25% of the position, it reduces my risk on the rest of the trade and also kind of offsets a little bit the loss on that position because I'm already locking in some profit, and it creates a small loss. And that's really what you want to do. You want to be able to make losing trades and be wrong and not get hurt. And that's the last couple of videos that I have put out have been about that topic. And what you're seeing right now, me finishing the week like this with these 3 great trades, 2 huge wins in SPY put options, 121%, 121% on my final take profit, another 83% on my final take profit. And this way, I'm coming out net green over those few days, not just making back everything that I had just lost the last couple of days. That's why keeping your losses small is so, so important because you're going to get these extension days. You're going to get these bigger days, and this is where you really push and your P&L really starts to move forward. But when you have big days like this, you can't be getting beaten up on choppy days because then when you get this big day, you're just making back what you lost, and you can't do that. That's why you have to really focus on keeping your losing trade small. And the lessons that I have put out and the videos that I put out over the last couple of days really, really focus and talk about that. And you're seeing firsthand now today why that is so important. All right, so if you missed those videos, go back, check them out. It's a really important part of trading and one of the things that I teach most in True Trading Group with all of our members. That was the bigger of the 2 trades on SPY put options. And then I went after this thing again, guys. I went after this thing again because as we're here and we break the low of the day at 12:30 and you see all this volume that started coming in, I'm like, man, if we cannot bounce with this kind of volume, then I'm saying we're going lower this afternoon. That was high volume coming in here on some back and forth, up and down action on the SPY. And if we can't bounce off that, we're going lower. We broke the low of the day with a real strong volume surge. Look at that volume that came in when we broke the low of the day. We bounced back and then got stuffed again. So once we got stuffed again on that bounce back, right inside there, I went back into some SPY put options. This time I bought the 322 strike, same day expirations at 69 cents. Okay, 69 cents. Then within minutes, okay, we extend lower. And again, I already know that we are in very, very volatile put options. These are same day expiration. They expire at the close. So these are going to be the most volatile contracts that you can trade when it comes to the SPY. So on that push, we actually printed new lows. So again, I'm just being smart. As soon as we print new lows, I'm taking a piece of my position off the table. I'm in at 69 cents. I took some off at 86 cents just to lighten up my risk in case I'm wrong. These contracts will go all the way down to 20 cents. Okay, if I'm wrong. So you have to understand the risk you're taking on that trade. So I locked some in. And then later on in the afternoon, we just continue lower. And then you guys can see, I'll go back to my alerts one more time. At 3:30, I took the bulk of my position off the table at 96 cents. Right there, bulk of my position off the table at 96 cents. And then what I did with the remaining piece. Now at this point, I'm down to a small piece of this position. I'm down to about 20 or 25% of my original size. And now I'm saying to myself, you know what? I've got a real nice big day. I've got some cushion. What I'm going to do is over the weekend. So that stat that I told you about that I read today, that the virus is doubling every 3 days. If we go into Monday and the virus has doubled again, and 9,000 cases turns into 18,000 cases, I think we're going to see a lot more pressure come back into the market as fears of how much damage this is going to do to GDP growth hit the markets. And also the China, their stock market's been closed, the Lunar New Year holiday. When they open up on Monday, which will be Sunday for us, I'm expecting a big sell-off. No one's going to work. Everyone there is probably a hell of a lot more scared than we are here. Look at the sell-off that we experienced today, and we have 6 cases in the United States. There's almost 10,000 in China. I think they're going to be a little bit more scared. So when you talk about fear and panic in the markets, I expect a huge gap down, big sell-off in China. We'll see if we get it. Maybe maybe something happens over the weekend that changes sentiment and they get the virus under control and then things bounce back. That's very possible too. But this is a small position. This is a high risk, high reward bet. If something gets worse over the weekend and we get a big gap down on Monday, I rolled the last piece of my contracts on the 322 strikes today expiration. I rolled them forward to Monday's expiration, 320 strikes. Now, in order to do that, you can do that with your broker. It's a simultaneous transaction, but I provided the prices of those contracts on my trade alert when I was in chat in case there was anyone that either wanted to just enter the puts for Monday or wanted to just close out the puts from today and didn't want to roll them forward, letting them know what the prices of those were. So in order to roll them over, you actually have to close out the position that you're in and realize that profit or loss, and then it simultaneously opens up, contracts on whatever the strike and expiration is that you choose. So when I closed them out, they were at $1.26, again, from the 69-cent entry. That is an 80, I think it's like an 83. Yeah, it's an 83% gain on my final take profit. And then I rolled over into puts for Monday. All right. Now, those puts were expensive because today was a very high volatile day. Implied volatility was up. So I did pay a lot for those contracts. But what I'm looking for, guys, is this was a real strong sell-off day, real strong volume day. If things get worse over the weekend, we could easily gap down to 318 on Monday. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. If things get worse over the weekend, I just rolled my contracts over. I want more exposure to this trade in case things get worse and we see a big gap down on Monday. So I rolled some of those contracts forward. We'll see if we get some further downside or if this 50-day moving average sticks as support. Things get controlled with the virus, things get back under control, and maybe we bounce back. And in that case, I'll take a loss on that last piece. But again, It's a very small position. So I'm not, it's really just potentially adding onto my day from today and kind of sticking with this trade idea of the virus getting worse before it gets better. All right. So today, again, guys, great day. Excellent way to finish out the week. Excellent way to finish out the month. I'm down in Miami. I'm going to the Super Bowl on Sunday. So I couldn't think of a better way to finish out the week and go into the weekend. I'm going to call it a holiday weekend because Super Bowl honestly feels like a holiday. I'm excited to go to the game. So I will be back on Monday, and we'll look to see if the virus has gotten worse, and we'll see if we get that gap down on the SPY. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys all on Monday. Later.